Modern political campaigns operate under extreme, unrelenting stress, constantly grinding against intense, highly organized opposition at every single turn. But the current environment has escalated past rhetorical stress into physical danger. We are seeing major security failures and literal gunfire directed at the candidate. That hostility spills over to the running mate. J.D. Vance has faced sudden security evacuations and logistical disruptions that make standard campaign stops incredibly complex. Historical political science dictates that when controversies multiply and physical risks peak, candidates typically do one of two things: moderate their message to lower the temperature, or withdraw entirely to preserve their safety. This campaign has abandoned those traditional responses. Instead of seeking a reprieve from the friction, it has engineered a system to convert that hostility into political energy. When you hear the phrase, "in it to win it," it sounds like standard rally rhetoric. In reality, it describes a highly structured, mechanical campaign strategy. Think of it as a pressure response machine. It ingests external hostility, lawsuits, media attacks, or physical threats, and processes it through a central engine. The result is concentrated political resolve. The engine runs on three intakes: the media front, the security reality, and the ideological standoff. Once you map out these three intakes, the chaotic daily headlines stop looking like random events. They become predictable data points feeding a master strategy. Let's look at the media intake first. Recently, there has been a highly publicized feud between the campaign, the ABC network, and late-night television. Normally, when comedians mock a candidate, the standard playbook says to either ignore the jokes completely or go on the show to engage in some light self-deprecation. The campaign did the exact opposite. They aggressively demanded accountability, calling for ABC to fire the host and escalating the conflict. By forcing the issue, the campaign draws the network into an active fight. This pressures the mainstream media out of a neutral, objective posture, turning them into a visible opponent. That opposition provides the necessary evidence for the campaign to prove to its base that the establishment is actively working against them. The physical environment of the campaign provides the second intake. The threats have become so severe that the White House is conducting reviews of presidential security protocols. Operating under a persistent, visible threat of violence changes the electorate's perception of the office seeker. The candidate becomes a target of systemic forces, shifting the public conversation from policy debates to a narrative of survival. Rather than retreating to safe, controlled environments, the campaign leans into these risks. They hold large rallies and maintain their highly visible public schedules. Existing constantly in the crosshairs validates their core claim. It signals to voters that the candidate is a disruptor, someone the political system is so desperate to stop that they will allow the security environment to deteriorate to the point of physical danger. The third intake is the ideological standoff. You can track this in recent headlines exploring the radicalization of left-wing politics and discussions around the justification of political violence. The campaign capitalizes on this tension by framing their opposition in absolute terms. They explicitly state that Democrats actively want America to lose, painting them as a threat to the nation's survival. This chart shows the result of that framing. As the rhetoric intensifies, voters are vacating the center. When the choice is presented as a battle for the existence of the country, data points migrate toward the extreme axes, locking into a strict zero-sum conflict. If winning is a moral necessity to stop the destruction of the country, compromise is no longer an option. This framing ensures absolute loyalty from the base. Media hostility energizes the base. Literal threats project strength. Ideological tension secures total loyalty. These three forces reinforce one another, creating a self-reinforcing cycle where external opposition directly generates internal campaign strength. Because this system relies on high pressure to run, you should expect these external forces to intentionally escalate as we get closer to Election Day. The temperature has to rise for the engine to function. A machine calibrated to run entirely on opposition does not possess a reverse gear. It can only end in total victory or total defeat. There is no room for a strategic retreat. The next controversy, the next security scare, or the next media feud will not derail this campaign. They are the required fuel to reach the finish line. To understand how this strategy adapts, you have to monitor these specific pressure points as they happen in real time. You can watch this political engine operate daily by joining Hugh Hewitt weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern on the Salem News Channel.